Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma sarupine avatar varishtaya Ramakrishna te namaha. So we've been discussing the life of Sri Ramakrishna for quite a while. Of course, not all the talks are of course on his life, but on the whole we have completed, I think, before this 12 discussions. So now we are practically right at the end. Maybe after this just one more would be needed to have a brief idea of his life, and of course we are seeing the places associated, the persons associated. So last time we had seen that the master had developed that disease, the deadly disease, which was to take him away from the devotees, and that we all know was the cancer of the throat. And he had moved from Dakshineshwar to Shampur, and after that we had seen that he had finally moved to the Cossipore garden house. So when his condition gradually was becoming very bad, a vigorous search was made according to the advice of the doctors, and the spacious garden house of Gopal Chandra Ghosh at Cossipore was hired. So we will start with the pictures which I will share as usual. So first we will see the Shampur house where he was there. So I hope you can see this. This was the Shampur house, and this is the interior of the house at the present day. As I had mentioned, this is now a branch center of the Ramakrishna order. So Sri Ramakrishna moved to Cossipore on the 11th of December 1885. It was a very spacious place full of greenery, and at that time it was on the outskirts of Calcutta, so it was not much polluted also. So we will start with the photographs of the. This is the Cossipore garden house. Most probably it looks something like this when Sri Ramakrishna moved there. So I will quote from the life of Sri Ramakrishna. With the Cossipore garden we enter upon the last chapter of Sri Ramakrishna's life. It was here that the curtain fell upon his varied activities on the physical plane. On the eve of his exit from the arena of the world, the Master showed himself at his highest, and making Narendranath the fit instrument for the propagation of his ideas, entrusted to him the charge of all his other disciples. The spirit which had put on a vesture of flesh for the fulfillment of a great purpose, at its completion, cast off its temporary covering and returned to its original state of glory. This is how, in beautiful language, the life of Sri Ramakrishna portrays it. So this is the old photograph which you are seeing, and now we will start with the garden house as it is now. So this is the gate. Of course, you may be knowing that now it is a branch center of the Ramakrishna order. So you can see here, it is written Ramakrishna Mutt, Cossipore. So the Cossipore garden house is a beautiful one, about 5 acres in extent, abounding in fruit trees and flowering plants, and situated on the right side of the road that runs north from Calcutta to Baranagar. Baranagar, as you know, it was the first monastery of the order. For a little over 8 months, the master stayed here. And here he attained Mahasamadhi also. So, lot of suffering because of the terrible disease, but his mind was not so much affected. Such a high spiritual state he was always in. So here also he was looking after the individual and collective welfare of his devotees as he did in Dakshineshwar. And with great energy he set himself to complete the work that he had commenced long ago. Here we see the greatest manifestation of his powers, and here also we see the fulfillment of many of his prophecies regarding his own end. That is, he used to say before that, I shall make the whole thing public before I go. Whole thing public means everybody would come to know that his real nature was something different. He was not an ordinary person. Then he used to say, when people in large numbers will know and whisper about the greatness of this body, then the mother will take it back. Then he used to say that devotees will be divided into the inner and outer circle towards the end. So all these things proved to be true, and his predictions about the renunciation of Narendranath and other young disciples was also verified later. So let us have an idea of the Cossipore house through pictures, and of course I will show you a video also. So this is how it looks like today. You can see it is very well maintained. The main building is a 2-storied one with 3 rooms below and 2 above. The master occupied the hall in the center of the upper story. So this is another picture here. This is all decorated because on the 1st of January there is a great festival here. It runs for about 3 days. Yeah. So this is also another view of the same house so that we can have a good idea. So you can see the upper story, the master, there's a big hall there. I will show you the photograph. There the master stayed, and a small room to its left was used by his attendants at night. And to the right of the hall was an open terrace where sometimes the master sat. So you can see the open terrace right there. And the hall just below his room and a smaller room to its right were used by the devotees, while a small room to the extreme left was occupied by Holy Mother. So see the photographs of all these. So here you can see the flowers and all that in winter. This is the master's room where he lived and passed away. This is the shrine now, and this photograph is most probably taken from the terrace, so you can see you can have a view of the gardens. This is the main hall on the ground floor. So here Narendra and all other devotees stayed at night. This is quite a big hall. And this is another picture of that hall. This is another picture of that hall. And this, here you can see the master's photo on the bed. This is again the master's room. From the front view there is a gate you can see. So during Kalpataru people enter from here, and on the left side a staircase has been made because there is a huge crowd. So they come in one way and they go out the other way. This is another view of the master's room, which is decorated. On the Kalpataru you can see there's a nice decoration. This is a close-up view. You can see the flower garlands and everything. And this is a close-up of the master in that room. This is the room where the Holy Mother stayed. So most probably it is also during the festival. Another view of the same room. This is certainly on the Kalpataru day because so many flowers and decorations you can see. So in this small room she stayed. Now I will just show you the video. So very short video, but it will give us a very good idea of the whole place, especially those who have not visited at all. For them it will be very useful. So those who are online, they will have to see from a distance because we cannot play at two places together. Let me try at least, but may not work. Let me try. No, people here can't see, so I have to play on the television. So I turn this, I'll stop the sharing and turn it like this.
This garden house was sanctified by Sri Ramakrishna's stay with his disciples during the last few months of his life, as also by his Mahasamadhi in 1886. It was made a branch of Ramakrishna Mutt in 1946. In this ashram, the activities includes there's a library, daily workshop, bhajans, weekly religious classes and occasional discourses in the ashrama and elsewhere. Also, the celebration of Kalpatarutsava and the birth anniversaries of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi, Swami Vivekananda and other religious personalities. The maintenance of a memorial at Cossipore crematorium where Sri Ramakrishna's mortal body was also cremated. A unit of Gadadhar Abhyudaya Prakalpa, where children are also trained in basic computer operations. Also, welfare work by way of providing stipends to students and milk and blankets to poor and needy people. January 1, 1886, when Sri Ramakrishna revealed himself to be an avatar or God incarnate on earth. The day was named as Kalpataru Day by Ramakrishna's disciple Sri Ramachandra Datta. This event carried meanings and memories of cosmic importance for the disciples and also prepared them for Ramakrishna's death, which occurred only a few months later on 16th of August 1886. If you like my videos, then do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. This motivates me.
So, yeah, short video because we don't have much time. There are bigger videos also. So from that you can have an idea. Now it was a new place. It was to Sri Ramakrishna's liking, of course, because it was green and outside Calcutta, polluted Calcutta. But initially there were some difficulties. Whenever you shift to a new place, there are bound to be some difficulties. So few days passed in overcoming these preliminary difficulties, and Narendra realized that the attendants who had volunteered to serve the master, they had to stay there because the place was very far away from Calcutta and it was not possible for them to come and go every day. So naturally this meant some additional expenses. The problems of money was always there and the number of attendants would have to be increased. So all these problems were there, and on top of all these, Narendra was then preparing for his law examination. So his studies, and of course there was a case also going on. His relatives had filed that case, unfortunately. So he had to go to Calcutta. He could not avoid it sometimes. But he spent the major time in Cossipore and he decided to study there itself. And he hoped to be able to provide his mother and brothers with a certain sum of money the next few years and then renounce the world and become a monk. So Sri Ramakrishna was aware of the great difficulties which his devotees faced to ensure his treatment in Calcutta and Cossipore also. He did not hesitate to accept their services. He was seeing the divine plan behind all this. And sometimes he was seen to alter their plans also where they did not agree with his plan, sometimes openly and sometimes without their knowledge. he knew what was the right thing to do. So just before coming to Calcutta for treatment, he had said to Balram Bose. So I will again start sharing the photographs. Here you can see the photograph of Balram Bose. Most of you know that his home was in Calcutta and Sri Ramakrishna had visited it 100 times. Yeah. And now of course that home is also a center of the Ramakrishna order. It is known as Balram Mandir. So just before coming to Calcutta, he had said to Balram one day, the devotees were planning how to give how to defray the expenses. So they started off thinking of starting a fund and all that. So Sri Ramakrishna said to Balram that I don't like the idea that people should start a fund for my maintenance. So you please, as long as I am outside Dakshineshwar, you will please bear all my personal expenses. So Balram was a very well-to-do person, so naturally he agreed. Then again, when Sri Ramakrishna heard that the Cossipore garden house had been engaged and the rent was very high, we can see what a big property and all that. So then he called another of his well-to-do devotee, that was Surendranath Mitra. This is the photograph. So he told him, Surendra, the devotees are not so wealthy. They have large families to maintain, so for them it will be very difficult to pay the high rent of the garden. So please bear the whole expense of that yourself. Surendra, of course, cheerfully agreed. Then Sri Ramakrishna had become very weak. Even to get up for his daily needs was practically impossible. Then he was anxious, what will happen? Then his devoted disciple, Swami Vimohananda, Latu, this is his photograph. So he's told the master, you need not worry, I will be your sweeper and I will clean everything. So with great earnestness he said so. And Latu had a particular accent, like Bihari accent. He was practically illiterate and he could not speak Bangla fluently. So when he said this in his peculiar accent, then all the devotees were amused and started laughing. So gradually things became systematic. The young disciples of the master began to stay with him for now most of the day and night. Narendra, of course, was the leader. When they were not engaged in his service, he would bring them together and engage them in meditation, study, discussion, songs. So they were busy, but they were always in a wonderful atmosphere in the holy company of the master. And they were attracted on one hand by the pure love of Sri Ramakrishna, on the other hand by the personality of Vivekananda, his love. So a brotherhood was formed here. Many of them decided here itself that they would dedicate their lives to the service of the master and in fulfilling his mission. So now, shortly after arriving in Cossipore, this is the photo of Lakshmi Devi, I'll tell you. So shortly after his arrival in Cossipore, Sri Ramakrishna took a short stroll in the garden, but that stroll weakened him all the more. So the doctors told him that he should rest now. And Sri Ramakrishna's niece, Lakshmi Devi, whose photographs you are seeing, she also came and she became the companion of Holy Mother. Helped her in all the things, all the service activities. And two young boys used to go to Calcutta every day to bring the necessary articles of food and also make a daily report to the doctors who were in Calcutta. And the other boys divided among themselves the tasks of nursing, marketing and other household duties. Holy Mother, of course, was the cook, and Lakshmi Devi helped her. Sometimes the women devotees of the master would also come for a day or two. The monetary affairs of the household were managed by the senior household devotees. So, till every arrangement was complete and none of the young devotees went home, except for a few hours in case of great urgency. So all of them told their guardians that until Sri Ramakrishna recovered, they would not return home. So guardians thought that, okay, let us agree, because if we don't agree, maybe they will decide never to return home. So better agree with them. So this was the general situation, and many important incidents occurred in Cossipore. So one by one we will see that. Here you can see another photograph of the house. So when at the united efforts of the householder disciples and the young devotees, the treatment and nursing of the master were going on smoothly, Narendra, or Swami Vivekananda, had a little breathing time, and he thought of going home for a day or two to look after his family affairs. One night he spoke about it to his brother disciples and went to bed. But he could not sleep. He got up and he found that some others were also awake, Sharad and some others. So he told them, come, let us have a walk in the garden. So you can see the picture of the garden that is in front of you. So in the course of the walk, Narendra told his companions, he said, the master's disease is very serious. Perhaps he intends to give up his body. Strive your best for spiritual upliftment through service to him and prayer and meditation, while yet there is time. After his passing away, there will be no end to your repentance. We are wasting time in the foolish thought that we shall pray to God after finishing this or that business. So in this way we are fastening more chains of desires, and desires mean death. So we must root them out at once. So these were the words of renunciation which Narendranath had spoken. So this night was a cold, starry night. You can see here the photograph of Swami Vivekananda. Most probably this was taken at the Cossipore garden house only. So it was a cold, starry night. Now remember we are discussing incidents, so this was a very important incident. A perfect stillness reigned everywhere. Narendra's mind was always introspective and he now wanted to meditate. he sat under a tree and seeing a stack of dry hay and twigs nearby, he told others, set fire to that. At this hour the monks light the dhuni fire. So let us do the same. So what is that fire signify? He said that they made oblations into that fire of what? Of that small twigs and leaves, etc., whatever was there. So at that time they were thinking, as they put those things, that they were putting their desires into the fire. And like the desires were burning, this fire was burning the leaves, all their desires were also being burnt. So this type of meditation gave them great joy, and the disciples actually felt that their minds were being cleansed of all desires and they were coming closer to God. After 2 or 3 hours, they put out the fire and then went to rest. Narendra went home according to previous arrangement and returned after a couple of days. So about this time, this is one incident which I mentioned. About this time, another incident, great importance happened. What was that? Pandit Shashadhar Tarkachuramani. You can see his photo. He was a very great scholar. So he came to pay a visit to the master. And of course, he knew that the master was very ill, very serious disease. So he said to the master, Sir, the scriptures say that saints like you can cure their physical illness by means of willpower alone. So you can easily cure the disease which you have. Why don't you try it out? Then Sri Ramakrishna did not reply when he said for the first time. Then again the scholar repeated his request. So when he said the second time, Sri Ramakrishna said, you are a scholar and you are making this request to me. My mind has been given up to God once and for all. Now you want me to withdraw it and put that mind on this worthless body. This body has to go today or tomorrow. So why should I put my mind given to God upon this worthless body? How, being a scholar, how can you say like that? So Shashadhar, naturally, he did not say anything. He was silenced. But after he had gone, then Narendra and other devotees got a chance. Now they knew that actually the master could cure himself. So then they started pressing Sri Ramakrishna. He said, you must cure your illness. We are not asking you to do for your sake. We are asking you for our sake. So then Sri Ramakrishna said, do you think I am undergoing all this suffering voluntarily? I also wish to recover. But I cannot do. It is all according to the divine will. It is all mother's will. If she wants, she can cure me. What can I do? But the Narendra was not easily, he was not convinced. He knew master was only, just trying to silence them. So Narendra said, okay, the divine mother wills, then you pray to her. Pray to her for our sake. All your prayers she listens. So this prayer also she will listen. Sri Ramakrishna said, but I can never pray for my body. It is not possible for me. Narendra said, no, that won't do. You must tell the mother at least for our sake. So Sri Ramakrishna says, okay, I shall try to do so. Then after a few hours went away. Then Narendra came. He asked the master, did you pray? What happened? Then what Sri Ramakrishna said completely silenced all of them. They had not expected that answer. What he said was, yes, I prayed to the mother. What prayer? He could not pray, cure my body all that day. He could never pray like that. So what did he say? He said, I cannot eat anything because of this terrible pain. Please arrange something so that at least I can eat. In that way he prayed. But what was the result? Then the mother appeared before him and said, why are you telling that you cannot eat? You are eating through so many mouths. Means, why are you telling that you are that body? When he said, I cannot eat means what? This body cannot eat. So mother is telling him, how could you say that you are that body? You are the spirit, Atman, who is existing in all bodies. So then Sri Ramakrishna felt so ashamed that how could he call his body I? So of course these things we can never understand. They are far too above our understanding. So such was his realization that he even felt ashamed to call his body I. That is why he always used to say this place. He never used to say I. So then Sri Ramakrishna said, I was so ashamed, I could not utter any word, another word. So poor Narendra and other disciples, now they could not do anything. But many doctors were tried, and another physician now undertook the treatment of the master. So he was Dr. Rajendra Lal Datta, a distinguished homeopath of Calcutta. He had heard of the illness and of his own accord he proposed to try some remedies. So this one second. This is his photograph. This is the doctor's photograph, Rajendra Lal Datta. So he was a distinguished physician, and this was another incident. So we come to the morning of December 23rd, 1885. The master was in a particularly happy mood. And he had become just like a small child. So he said to Niranjan, that is Swami Niranjanananda, you can see his photograph here. He said to Niranjan, you are my father, I will sit on your lap. Then touching Kalipada's chest, Kalipada was a devotee, we have mentioned him earlier in earlier discussions. So he touched Kalipada's chest and said, be illumined. Then the master summoned Gopal Senior, that is Elder Gopal, and also blessed him. And in the evening he said to Mahendra means Master Mashay, my task of teaching is almost finished. I can no longer instruct people. The whole world I see to be nothing but God. So I think, whom shall I teach? If everything is God, then how can I teach God? So all these conversations were going on, and Niranjan said, sir, formerly I loved you, but now it is impossible to live away from you. And Master Mahasaya said, the other day I realized what difficulties these boys surmounted to come here and serve you. So the master was touched by these words and he went into ecstasy. Then he regained consciousness and said, I saw that everything was passing from the embodied to the disembodied state. I wish to reveal more, but I can't. Maybe this trend towards the impersonal is an indication of the coming dissolution of the body. That is, his body will not stay. And many other important things he said. He said, even now I see the existence, knowledge, bliss, Satchidananda, without names or forms, exist. And then he said, this disease marks out the inner circle of devotees from the outer circle. Those who have renounced the world and are living here belong to the inner circle, while those who pay just occasional visits and only ask about my health belong to the outer circle. And of course, we know about the event which was of greatest importance. That was Sri Ramakrishna when he became the wish-fulfilling tree on the 1st January 1886. But that is a separate topic. We all discuss it when we celebrate the Kalpatru Utsav. So we will not discuss it now. We know how he blessed the devotees. So we come to another incident, that was the great Swami Vivekananda's realizations. So he was now hankering, Swamiji was now hankering for the highest experience, and we will just relate some of his conversations he had with Master Mahasaya. So he told Master Mahasaya once that this conversation took place 1 week later. So he said last Saturday that before that was 2nd January. So he told Master Mahasaya, last Saturday I was meditating here. Suddenly I felt a strange sensation within my chest. Then Master Mahasaya said, was that the awakening of the spiritual power? Narendra said, yes, most probably it was that. I felt clearly the nerves, Ida and Pingala. So as maybe you know that there are 3 nerves, Ida, Pingala and the Sushumna. So when the power rises, it rises through the Sushumna. So Narendra said, I clearly saw the nerves Ida and Pingala and asked Hazra to feel my chest. Yesterday I saw the masters upstairs and said, everyone has been blessed with realization. Let me too have something. When all of them have got it, shall I alone be left without it? So the master said to Narendra, just make some arrangement for your family and come, you will get everything you want. What do you want? So Narendra said, I wish to remain immersed in Samadhi for 3 or 4 days continuously. So he was satisfied with some small thing. He wanted to remain immersed in Samadhi continuously. Then the master scolded him, as we know. He said, you are a fool. There is a state even higher than that remaining immersed in Samadhi. Don't you think that whatever exists is only God? So you have to see God in everything, not only when you are in Samadhi. So come here after making some provisions for your family and you shall get a state even higher than Samadhi. So then Narendra said, this morning I went home. They began to take me to task for neglecting my studies. I was seized with some sort of dread, as if it was the most horrible thing to study. So leaving all my books, I came running to Dakshineshwar. My shoes slipped off somewhere on the road. So he was in a sort of, different spiritual state. So it was 9 o'clock in the evening of 4th January. Niranjan, Shashi and Master Mashai sat near the master. The pain was very great, but still the master talked in whispers. He told about Narendra. He said, look at the wonderful state of Narendra. There was a time when he did not believe in the personal aspect of God. Now see how he is hankering for realization. So everybody realized that Narendra was soon to get the highest realization. So we are talking about Narendra, so I am sharing another picture. You can see the beautiful decoration. So that very night Narendra left for Dakshineshwar with one or two of his brother disciples to meditate. From Cossipore they went to Dakshineshwar. Under the master's directions, he had been practicing various kinds of spiritual discipline and had attained remarkable success. So Sri Ramakrishna was preparing him for the great task which was to come later. And one day the master told Narendra, and he told him, I leave all the other young disciples in your care. See that they practice spiritual exercises and don't return home. So he was silently training them for monastic life. So as a part of that training, one day he told Narendra and others that go and beg food. You will have to do that later, so start preparing. Go and get food from various houses. So they went, begged their food and came and offered some to the master, who took very little. He could not eat at all. So he said, very well done, this food is very pure. Then on the Shivratri day, the young disciples passed the night in chanting and meditation. So what did Narendra do? He was feeling a great spiritual power within him now. He had advanced so fast. So he wanted to test that power. So upon whom did he test? He tested it upon Kali. Kali means Kali Prasad, who was to later become Swami Vivekananda. This is his photograph. So all of them were meditating. Then he asked Kali to touch him. So when Kali touched him, his hand began to shake, as if some electric current was entering him. So this was over, but Narendra did not know that he was to receive a scolding for what he had done. They were meditating now. Then far away from the master was in his room. But one disciple came and told Narendra, the master is calling you. Now you had it. He did not know, of course. So the master called him and gave Narendra a good scolding. What did he say? He said, just now you have started accumulating power. And now itself you want to test it and fritter that power away. You have done great harm to Kali, because your spirit, your bhava has entered into him, which is very bad for his attitude. First, gain maturity. Know how and when to transmit power. Then only you can do that, not before. So Narendra was dumbfounded, because in his room, how could the master know what they had been doing? So he was all knowing. Nothing was, you cannot hide anything from the master. So he was absolutely dumbfounded. So this is one very important incident. Then another very important incident, that Budo Gopal Da, who was, that is, Budo means elder, so we call him Gopal Senior. So he expressed his desire to the master to distribute ochre clothes and Rudraksha rosaries, because all of the young boys were going to become monks. So he told the master, through you, I want to distribute ochre clothes to them. So wonderful painting by the great Vishwaranjan Chakravarti. You can see here, the master is distributing these clothes to his disciple. So when Gopal Senior said that he wanted to distribute these to monks, then Sri Ramakrishna said, in the whole world you will not find better monks than these boys. Narendra, Rakhal, Shashi, all these. So you distribute amongst them. So naturally Gopal agreed. He placed a bundle of ochre clothes before the master, who distributed them among his young disciples. One cloth was extra, so the master kept it for Girish, because Girish was also just like a monk now in his great spirit of renunciation. So very luckily, one cloth exists from that. That is the cloth which master had given to Latu, Swami Vimohananda. That is still there, preserved. And this is that cloth. This is the cloth. Most probably I have taken it from Swami Chaitanandaji's book, and most probably it is maybe in our museum in Belur Math. So this is that cloth which the master had given. So one evening the master made the young boys go through a ceremony and permitted them to receive food from the houses of all, irrespective of caste and all that. So thus it was that the disciples were initiated into the monastic order by Sri Ramakrishna himself, and the foundation of the future of the Ramakrishna order was laid in this way. So there are many more things we'll have to leave for a future date. We will end today just with Narendra's great experience of the highest Samadhi. Yeah. So we have already seen how Narendra was panting for this realization. So what happened? One evening he was meditating and this realization came to him quite unexpectedly. First he felt that as if a light had been placed behind his head. At first he felt like that. Then after that something happened and he passed beyond all relativity and was lost in the absolute. Means he was lost in that Satchidananda Brahman. So this was his attainment of the highest spiritual experience, which in Vedanta is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. He soon came down, he regained a little consciousness of the world, but a strange thing happened. When he came down, he was only conscious of his head. He could not have any consciousness of his body at all. He did not feel his body. So he shouted to Gopalda, who was there, elder Gopalda, He said, where is my body? I can only feel my head. Where has my body gone? Then Gopal touched his body and told him, here is your body. Why are you saying that? But Narendra could not feel that. So he failed to convince Narendra. Gopal was terrified. What is happening here? So he went to the master. And the master, he said, no problem. Let him remain like that. He has pestered me so long. I want Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I want Samadhi, now let him remain like that. So, anyway, after a long time, Narendra came to the consciousness of the whole body and the physical world, and he saw that all the brother disciples were around him and he was completely immersed in peace. So he came to the master. So the master told him, okay, now the mother has shown you everything. You have attained everything. But don't think you can remain in Samadhi forever. So your realization will be locked up and the key will be with me. Only when you have finished the work for which I have brought you, for which you have come, then I will give the key to you. Then again, you will experience this. So, saying this, the master advised him to be careful about some things, like only eat certain things, etc., etc., because that these experiences completely shake up the body and nervous system. And Sri Ramakrishna said that some people even die because their body cannot contain that. It is something tremendous. Sri Ramakrishna described it how that just very small pond, suppose a big elephant enters, what will happen? The pond will be completely agitated. So the body is tremendously agitated by these tremendous experiences. So that is why he told Naren to be very careful. Many other incidents are there, that his love for the devotees, especially Girish, when he came once, then Hirananda came, then Holy Mother once fell down there in the stairs, Nag Mahashaya came. So all these will have to leave for a future date. So we have to stop here now. Yeah. So maybe in the next discussion we can discuss these small events, and of course the master's Mahasamadhi, when the master left the mortal body. So all this we will see next time when we discuss this again. Let us stop here. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So I will just unmute you, those who are online.